All right, it is 6 p.m. I'll call the meeting of Canandaigua Town Board for May 16th, 2022 to order. I will begin by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Karen Domingue.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So it's Gina or Rebecca who's in charge of that? All right. All right, Rebecca, can you confirm that the meeting was properly advertised?
Yes.
All right. Can you go ahead and call the roll?
Okay, Councilwoman Karen Domingue,
Present.
Councilman Terry Fenley,
Present.
Councilwoman Adeline Rudolph,
Present.
Supervisor Jared Simpson.
Present. All right. So there are written communications in the binder, and those will be circulating if you want to take a look at those throughout the meeting. This brings us to our first privilege of the floor, if anyone would like to be heard at this time. Okay, seeing none, that takes us to our priority business. And as many of you know, it's been a difficult couple weeks for the town of Canandaigua and the Davis family. And we'd like to welcome you here tonight. Thank you for coming out and thank you for sharing Dad, Grandpa, father-in-law with us for the last 4 years in the town of Canandaigua. We truly appreciate that. We do have a resolution that we would like to be read, and I've asked our town clerk, Jean Chrisman, to read the resolution.
The following resolution is going to be acted on by the town board tonight. Resolution number 2022-133, honoring council member Gary Davis. Whereas the town board and the employees of the town of Canandaigua wish to honor Councilman Gary L. Davis, who passed away unexpectedly on May 4th, 2022. And while no words can perfectly sum up a person, it is with the utmost respect and sympathy that these memories of him are recorded into the permanent records of the town of Canandaigua. Whereas Gary Davis has been part of the town of Canandaigua family for 45 years, serving the community in a wide variety of roles and positions, working tirelessly to make the town of Canandaigua a better place for residents to live, work, and play. And whereas Gary Davis was elected 3 times to the town board by the residents of the town of Canandaigua during special elections in September of 2017, November 2017, and again in November of 2019, to his own 4-year term beginning January of 2020 through December 2023 to represent the town of Canandaigua. And whereas Councilman Davis gave freely of his time to the community, serving on a number of other boards and committees over the years, including the following: the Zoning Board of Appeals member, 2002 through 2014. Zoning Board of Appeals chairperson, 2011. Citizens Implementation Committee founding member, 2014 through 2022. Sewer Master Plan Project Team, 2016. Agricultural Project Team, 2015 through 2016. Complete Streets Committee founding member, 2017 through 2018. Town Board Ordinance Committee founder member and chair, 2017 through 2022. Agricultural Advisory Committee founding member, 2017 through 2022. And whereas during Councilman Davis's time with the town, he worked on and or reviewed a myriad of plans, policies, and studies, including the following: Comprehensive Plan, 2009, 2011, and 2021. Sewer Master Plan, 2016. Agricultural Enhancement Plan, 2016. Water Master Plan, 2017. Complete Streets Policy, 2017. Transfer of Development Rights Demonstration Project, 2017. Open Space Conservation and Scenic Views Master Plan, 2018. Uptown Canandaigua Transportation Corridor Feasibility Study, 2019. Natural Resources Inventory Update, 2020. Middle Cheshire Road Active Transportation Plan, 2021. And whereas Councilman Davis's involvement extended to many projects over the years, including the construction of the new highway facility, the construction of the new water tanks in Cheshire, the acquisition of land for stormwater quality improvement projects along Sucker Brook, the rezoning of portions of the town of Canandaigua to include form-based code uptown, the creation of the Canandaigua Local Development Corporation, the updating of the town code to include an agricultural advisory committee, and many important improvements to park facilities and recreational programs. And most recently, the construction of the new inclusive playground and the naming of the same playground, Motion Junction at Richard P. Outhouse Memorial Park. And whereas in his passing, Councilman Davis leaves a legacy of hard work, determination, an enduring habit of never saying no when asked over and over again, to take on additional projects, and his fellow board members and colleagues at the town of Canandaigua will miss him dearly. Now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Canandaigua does hereby honor Councilman Gary L. Davis and offers his family and friends their deepest sympathy in this most difficult of times. And be it further resolved, the town board of the town of Canandaigua pauses its deliberations to honor the life of Gary L. Davis and acknowledgement and document some of Councilman Davis's contributions to the Canandaigua community. Be it finally resolved, the town board directs the town clerk to provide a copy of this resolution to Dorothy Davis in honor and memory of Gary. Motion made by,
I'll second it.
seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Gary was a great friend.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Gene. Now I'd like to take a moment and give members of the town board an opportunity to share a few thoughts. So,
Want to go first
Terry,
or
you're
last,
up to
Terry?
it.
You could be first or last if you want.
Well, there's not a lot I can say to compare to the resolution that was prepared, honoring Gary, but Gary was a good man, a great man, in my opinion. He was a good family man, a loving father, husband, grandfather, true friend to the town, and good friend of mine. He was very methodical about everything he did. He had a process he followed, probably the remnant of his days when he was working for the Ag and Markets Department, establishing laboratories and procedures to test dairy products. And that carried over in many ways in Gary's life, I think. Gary and I used to go down to Tim Hortons and get coffee once a week, sometimes twice. And I remember one time we decided we were hungry. So Gary said, well, let's get a blueberry muffin. So Gary got the muffin. I got one. I took the stuff over I took the muffins over to the table. Gary brought the coffee. Gary was on to Tim Hortons, you know how hot those cups are. So set them on the table and backed away quickly. I said, man, hurt your hand? He said, no. I said, I'll be right back. So he left. Again, being very methodical and rigid about how he did things. All of a sudden he appears and he's got 2 knives and 2 forks. And he can't eat these muffins without, having proper cutlery in her. So he proceeded to saw through them and eat them with a fork, and carry. That was the routine. I'd carry the muffins over, he'd get the coffee, then he'd go over, usually over to Wendy's because they had a big display of utensils for there. So he grabbed there and bring them over. He was very attentive to the town of Canandaigua. I know all the conversations we had over the years, and I honestly can't remember when I met Gary, but I know that certainly wasn't measured in months or years, probably decades, but we both had the same color hair. So anyway, Gary, when he moved to town, he told me he got involved with what was happening with the bypass back when it was being constructed in the 70s. He was very concerned about traffic and his kids growing up riding bikes in that area. So he made sure he got his 2 cents in, and he got more than 2 cents in over the years. So he's a great man. I have to stop now.
Thank you.
I would just say real briefly, I've been here barely 4 months at a time. I reached out to Gary. He always had an answer. He always spoke to me and he was always so helpful, and I will miss him.
So I'm new to the board, but not necessarily new to Gary. Gary and I first worked together on the Complete Streets Committee where he was the chairman. And I quickly found out that he was the dad of John and father-in-law of Kelly, 2 people I went to school with. And I knew all of his grandkids. So it was great to make that connection. He always had very kind and gentle leadership qualities. Very committed to ensuring Canandaigua had a great future. He helped me get to this position that I'm here today. And, you know, his presence, his leadership, and just he's done, I mean, that entire resolution shows you just a small portion of what he's done for our town, and how lucky we are to have had somebody with that sort of devotion to the town of Canandaigua. So he's already very missed, and my thoughts go out to all of you because I know how much we miss him, and I can only imagine how much more you all must be missing him too. So.
Well, I like to tell stories, and I know that Gary liked to tell stories too. He had a lot of them, usually about farming or the North Country. But Gary, I had the honor, and I truly believe it was an honor to run for my first term in office with Gary. And it started in 2019, and it was so cold. And we would come back to the car and we couldn't move our faces from getting signatures or doing whatever. He's like, could it be any colder, Jared? I'm like, I'm sure it could be, but there's a little sun up there. But he, I had not met him, but he showed at my house one day, right after I had announced, just to introduce himself, because that's the kind of person that he was. And he knocks on the door, and I come out to the garage and I bring him inside because it was really cold. And we're talking, and after a few minutes, he looks at me and he's like, God, you sound just like your father. And he didn't know it, but things like that mean a lot. That's who he was. And on another note, another story, he when we were trying to plan and do things, I'm like, Gary, I'll text you. And he's like, no, you won't. Like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know how to text. And he showed me his phone from his pocket, probably maybe in early 90s Motorola flip phone or whatever it was. He's like, I've got one of these. I don't text. And I'm like, Gary, come on. You gotta figure this out. And I am proud to say that by the end of 2019, he had a smartphone and we were texting by the end. So it's all you guys, you know, Grace kids, you guys, it's probably all you guys, but you know, come on, Grandpa, you got to do this. You got to get with the, you know, you got to move in to the 2000s here. But he was salt of the earth, and as I've shared with many other people, he that's who he was. He cared. He loved his family. He loved his community. He, like the resolution said, he never would say no. He was always involved, and it's really hard to find something that he has not had a hand in one way or another for the last, 20 to 30 years of the town. So we are very fortunate to have had the time to work with him and to serve from him and to learn from him. So thank you for sharing him with us. Like I mentioned earlier, for sharing him with us over these years. Doug, Jim, Gene, do you guys have anything that you would like to say? You guys have
Worked with
him for a
Gary
long
many
time.
years. He would always be mindful of the finances of the town. He'd give me grief regularly about something that he wanted to see done. But he meant well when he said it. I think he just liked to say it because he would get a little rise out of it once in a while, you know. But overall, enjoyable to work with Gary for years. He was good in town in my short time.
I met Gary in the early 2000s when he joined the zoning board of appeals, 2001, 2003, whenever it was. And he always came to my office and tried to get some advice. How does this work? How does that work? We went to conferences together and he became a truly great friend. And supported each other through the years. And when I first ran for town clerk and everything, he was just an amazing man, and I will truly miss him. And thank you, like Jared said, thank you for allowing him to be part of the town family. He meant a lot to many of us, and a lot of us, I would say all of us, have some type of memory of Gary coming in, joking, you know, telling a joke or giving us a hard time jokingly about something. But he was just a great all-around guy, and you were truly blessed to have him in your lives.
I'll just share briefly, Chairman Euler, I know, who's our planning board chairman, just weighed in too, and I was thinking of Gary. You know, all of the staff here at the town just loved working with Gary and interacting with Gary. Donnie, the morning you called me and shared that, and it was just, the staff just felt so strongly and passionately here. And he was always in the building giving us a hard time about something, but as Jim said, kind of like ribbing us in a positive way, and trying to advance any number of different initiatives. Obviously, he loved agriculture. He was so passionate about agriculture, and we were just constantly working on agriculture. But he absolutely was the guy that would never say no. I think it was the day after he told us that he was resigning from the zoning board, we asked him to be on the CNC, and he's like, okay. So he just was always involved in these different things, and thank you for sharing.
So I'm gonna try to get in touch with my inner Gary Nadler. If it's not gonna cost us anymore, would you mind sharing?
I really would, because that's exactly 100% the town attorney. And I really like talking to Gary. And he's the reason that I have a rule that town board members, town staff can call me and I don't charge by the hour. Because he would not call under any circumstances. And he'd catch me here, catch me there. I said, Gary, why don't you call me? Oh, I don't want you to bill. I don't want you to bill it now. And I mean, twice a month, I said, can't call me every day, but maybe 1 or 2 times a month. It's gonna be free of charge. And we had great conversations. I always enjoyed it. He was always trying to get off the phone until I finally said, Gary, I'm building. But he would, since I started representing the zoning board, I've worked with him and he will truly be missed. I really enjoyed working with him and he will be missed.
Thank you. So thank you everyone for sharing your thoughts again. Thank you all for being here. You know, family is important, and it's we're grateful to have you here with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, seems kind of like a letdown. It's always been a.
I could do something in between if you want.
Okay, go ahead.
So just to completely change tax, I just wanted to make a quick note to thank our town staff for putting on a wonderful municipal boards training day. Thanks to Shauna and Kate and Sarah and Lindsay and Allie and our entire office staff on April 22nd. Their hard work really helped the event go off without a hitch, and it was no cost to participants. And it's helping build better government in our community. So thanks to them.
Thank you.
We want to let the family go.
Yeah, you might. We'll give you permission. It's going to get really boring from here on out. Yeah, thank you. Thanks again.
Thanks
so much.
Nice to meet you both.
People did go to work.
I hate to follow that up and lull you guys all to sleep. But I'm gonna stand over here so I can see this. And hopefully the technology works. So I was going to do a presentation at the last board meeting. Unfortunately, I was at home enjoying the depths of pneumonia. So that was quite enjoyable, but I was in Zoom, but I didn't want to go through that. And I was gonna present on the RSM property, just to give an update. And I know there are some residents who had asked for an update on RSM and where we are. So I just wanted to take a moment and do that tonight. So again, talking about 3950 County Road 16. Really, even the best laid plans. No, it's, nope. You got it?
That's just present. Okay.
See, we had it all figured out. Will it reach all the way over here? Should. All right.
Test in progress.
Yeah. Look at that. I just have to have I've got to have a steady hand for that. So the RSM property, we're talking about 72 acres, the total project. And this is not, because it's important to understand the project in addition to what the town, what we had discussed starting back in 2020 about the property. So there's an overhead shot of the property itself. Now let's start things. Oh, I am just not, there we go. Okay.
It's a while.
So in 2009, they applied for a conservation subdivision on County Road 16 with varying number of lots. And this is a review, but I think it's important to review so we know, because eventually this project will go forward. And so people aren't wondering why suddenly this is happening. This has really been a project that has been in the works for a number of years now. And the lot numbers varied from 61 to 66 and up to 110 boat slips in a marine building in their initial plans. And this was what they had proposed in the very beginning. Second plan was introduced in 2012 that reduced the lots to 61, and they removed any of the boat slips from their plan. This is the parcel as it looks right now. And these are the lots, and you can go on the Ontario County website, you can go on the property site, and you can see these because they have already subdivided into these individual lots. As you can see, they have numbers and everything on there. That's what it looks like if you're to superimpose the lots over the green space and what we have right now. So you can see where it fits in with Riley's Run and County Road 16 right there. 2016, they applied for 15 boat slips for the project, and by rule that is allowed. So they have 3 groupings of 5 boat slips that they could put out there that has been approved as part of the process. Around 2018, this parcel was identified as a parcel of interest by the town of Canandaigua. Parts of the parcel itself is something that would connect Middle Cheshire Road to County Road 16. It had 1.2 acres of lake frontage, about 1.5 acres of residential land, and then a connection all the way up to Riley's Run, include the trail. So if you take a look at the orange at the bottom, that would be a proposed, as part of our discussion and what we had talked about earlier, that's where the proposed easement would be, 20-foot wide strip, almost 1,400 feet. This is parcel number 2, about 1.5 acres, about $11,000 fair market value for that parcel there. And then this was parcel 3, where the homestead is, about 1.7 acres. This has about 460 feet plus or minus of lake frontage, and it has about a $954,000 fair market value. I do have the home in with question marks because no matter what happens with the property, the home is not habitable. The home is not in good condition and would have to be removed from the site. There's a view of the homes as they sit, and as you can see, as we get closer, the slopes get steeper, so they really can't build on all of the parcel. They can't build on all of that. And this is as you see, the lake frontage right here. The only area where we really have access to do anything down towards the lake is this lower portion because of the grade. And this would be more like a small golf cart type path or a footpath. And the rest has the guardrails, and the county will not allow the guardrails, have to be a minimum length. And if the guardrails were to be cut in for any other access point, they would not be in compliance with what they need to have for safety along that side of the road. So in 2020, the board passed a resolution 228, authorizing us to enter into a purchase option. The purchase option was secured for $250, and it's in effect until September of this year. As part of this process, we need to, if we exercise the rules of the purchase option are, two appraisals are entered into, similar if you were following with Tishner Point, two appraisals. If they're within the proper margin, a 5% margin, you take the lower one. If they are within a 10% difference, you split the difference and you find the middle ground. And if they are over a 10% difference in the two, then the third appraisal would be done. With this purchase option, if the town were to exercise the option to purchase this property, we are locked in to purchase it at whatever price the appraisal comes back at. So once we enter into the purchase option, we would be locked in to whatever price that property comes back at. And those are just the parameters for setting the price and the purchase option agreement. So as I said, we're locked in if we decide to go forward. When we were first discussing this in 2020, through discussions with our own discussion and through some discussion with RSM, we estimated the property would be between 1 and 1.2 million, which is not much higher than the fair market value as it sits right now, which is right about just short of $1 million if you add those pieces up, not including the 20-foot strip, because the 20-foot strip we don't have. That would be a separate piece, and it's, you have to figure out the specific dollar value for that amount. And at this price, there would be no tax impact on the taxpayers of the town of Canandaigua. We would be able to use reserve funds that we have to purchase the property. Unfortunately, we didn't know what the situation was going to turn into. We didn't know what the economy would be like. We didn't know what real estate would be like heading forward. So recent events and recent discussions have led us to believe that the current price could be anywhere from that 1.2 million to the $3 million range for that same parcel, for that same property. And this purchase would obviously require bonding and a tax increase for the taxpayers of the town of Canandaigua. So at our March town board meeting, the town board voted to direct the town manager to get an appraisal for the property outside of exercising the purchase option, seeing if we could get that done. So we would have an idea before discussing and deliberating how much it would cost, get a ballpark to know what we're looking at. Basically, if we didn't, like I said, we would just be going into this and have to write a check at the, blank check at the end of the day. If that price came back at a $2 million or a $3 million price point, and this is accessing about $1 million of reserve fund money, potentially watershed money, we'd have a tax increase of anywhere from 3 cents to 7 cents per thousand. At, a $3 million price, we'd have to bond 2 million over 30 years at that interest rate, and we know what's happening with interest rates, so that would put us at about $1.10 tax rate, and right now we're at $1.03. So when we made the request to do the appraisal on the property, RSM, the Westlake LLC, they declined to allow us on their property to do the appraisal, which is their right. Their right as property owners, their right as entering into this agreement. So they're not allowing us on the property to get this appraisal. So basically that option of having a professional appraisal go in, get an idea of what it would cost, so then we can come back and make a more informed decision, was not able to happen. So again, if we want to get that appraisal, we need to enter it. enter into the option agreement. So next steps that we have to take, if we want to move forward, we need to have, obviously, have further discussion as a board, review resident input on the project. Resident input was given when it was at $1 million. Now, not knowing, that might change. We need to identify any improvements for the property, because the purchase price is the purchase price, and any sort of improvement to that property would cost as well. Consult with the watershed manager to see if grant money is still available for that, and see if that's still in line with what the watershed council still wants to do. And then we would have to execute the purchase option by September 30th of 2022. And then prepare to be potentially to bond the money for the project. So that is where we are to this point with the project. I don't know if any board members have any questions or any thoughts that they would like to share.
Well, it's good summation of the history. I just come on to the town board back when this was starting. I was on the planning board when the Mancini's took action on the German Brothers Marina. And there was quite a bit of discussion at that time with the number of slips, moorings that they wanted to put on the lake. And it wound up going into a full-blown EIS, environmental impact study, and then the thing just kind of ran out of steam. So it's a good summation, and it is a very difficult decision to make, exercising that option, because price could be any price. And it's speaking for myself only. When I look at what the potential cost is here, and I look at what's going on right now in society with problems with acquiring materials, with what Jim's paying for pipe, for asphalt. As it stands now, we won't be able to execute all of the road construction work we're going to do this year because prices have gone up so much. We'd be way over budget. I think it's very risky to do something like that. So that's thoughts.
Okay, thank you. Any other thoughts?
I'd like to thank you for the presentation. It's nice to, from my opinion, I've been wanting to have this in front of the public for a while now. So I'm glad that we're discussing it in a more open capacity at this point. One thing that's very important to me about this project is that it's one of the last large stretches of undeveloped lake frontage in the town of Canandaigua. It's about 485 feet of actual frontage. And also this property is something that, there are people in this room with me that wrote a Trails Masters Plan that called out this particular piece of property as a potential for more trails linkages between Westlake Road or County Road 16 and Middle Cheshire Road. But for me, the most important part about it is just simply preserving one of the last stretches of open land in the town of Canandaigua that borders the lake frontage. And to that end, I really hope that a lot of community members will let us know how they feel about this, and let us know if this is important to them and a place that they want to be spending their hard-earned tax dollars or not. So I'm very glad to see it brought out to the public.
Sharon, any thoughts? You're still looking through.
Are the parcels separable, such as the right-of-way strip that comes down from Riley's Run area? Is that separable from the lake frontage?
They're three separate parcels
I mean, but this is all based on
on a purchase of three. The two parcels.
There's
and
no
the
option.
easement.
There's no option.
Option in the option.
Yeah. There's no option to break it down to choose two or all three
Right.
within the option. And I don't know if we were to go back for a second option. I don't know. It's a crapshoot, but it's something you don't know if that would even be entertained. From doing this, one of the thoughts that I had going into it, and I sit on the watershed council with Kevin Levani, and there are a lot of things that we can do to protect the lake, the water quality on the lake. There are a lot of projects that we can enter into that aren't right there on the edge, but upstream a little bit, if you will, that can have a pretty significant impact on the water quality on the lake. And also looking at it and speaking with representatives from the county at public works meetings, there's really not much that can be done on that upper section. So that kind of has impacted my thinking on the project. I want to know what the public thinks, but if we're heading north of 2 million to 3, I'm very hesitant at that potential to go in and make exercise the option and then have it come back, and then we're asking for a tax increase for this.
One of the things that has been brought out is that this land, as long as it is not developed in any way, it would still provide a buffer between the upland and the lake for filtration of any water coming down from up above. The only flat spot in the whole thing is where Arnie Johnson's house was, is.
Yeah.
Very inhabited by raccoons and getting no what right now, but that area would have to become a parking lot, which would be impervious surface. But other than that, it would largely be the same. And if we don't purchase it, it's probably going to stay the way it is. Now, I hear other things, that I don't think we can really discuss tonight, but there are other efforts underway that might, preserve this property. One of the things that we've just done recently that, I don't know if it's on it is on the agenda, the purchasing the property by McJanet Park in 21. We just last week agreed to purchase, if you know where McJanet Park is, under 21. It's just a little pocket park like, and property to the north of it kind of wraps around it and down to Seneca Point Road. The stream that passes through there, one of the streams that feeds the lake. Now we would have the opportunity to do something in that area to perhaps provide a little bit more buffering, a pond or something like that, to allow water time to settle on any sills or anything that might be coming down from the Vista Preserve, which is further up Goff Road. I know, talking with Kevin, he has a number of areas where he would like to increase settling time and use plantings to try to filter the water. We've installed, I think, 3 out of the 8 that he wants to do on Tucker Brook, which is about 1,000 miles long and wandering all over the place before it gets to the lake. There are areas like that we could do more work in to increase settling time, to increase water quality. And from what I've gathered over some of the presentations that have been made recently, the emphasis isn't so much on boating as it is on water quality, what's flowing into the lake and what's in the water flowing into the lake. So I think there are opportunities for us to work with Kevin, and work with his group, and perhaps spend this money more wisely in an effort to better filter out what's in that water before it gets to the lake. So that's one of the reasons what's driving my thinking. So,
Yeah, he has a lot of projects and a lot of interest in doing work within the town for those.
Jared, are we going to be posting this presentation on the website under the section for the
Yeah,
land
we can put it on
acquisition?
there. I'll download it as a
Does that still have a link to the
PDF
presentation you made? There's an excellent presentation as well that Doug made way back in
yeah, so there's
2019.
still a lot on the website, but this just gives an update of where we are at this point. There's some different wrinkles in the equation that not everybody knew getting to this point. We don't have any action on this right now in favor of or against, but hopefully with this in mind, and we could even have Kevin do a presentation, come in here, he's offered to come in and do a presentation on other water quality projects that we can do that would help within the town. All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. We're only on on to public hearings?
Mhm.
Okay, all right, so we do have a couple public hearings tonight. The first one is a public hearing on a local law to amend Town Code 178, adding community choice aggregation to procure energy supply service for eligible consumers. And for your reference, this pertains to resolution number 2022-1, 154. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved. And seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I declare the public hearing open. Now it's time for any comments. If anybody would like to make comments on this. All right, seeing no hands. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Also.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, public hearing is now closed. The next public hearing, excuse me, is on a local law to amend Town Code 45, adding cemeteries and monuments and the establishment of cemetery regulations and create a cemetery committee.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing is now open. Would anybody like to be heard? Karen?
Well, we all know what I feel about cemeteries. And I would support a cemetery committee because most of the cemeteries we have within the town of Canandaigua provide a history. And I think it's important that we maintain that history. And it seems like such a shame to see, headstones broken or disintegrating, and not being able to go in there and identify, who's where. I fully support a cemetery committee. I think it's about time.
Thank you very much. Anybody else like to be heard? All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that public hearing is now closed. Okay, that takes us to reports of town officials and department heads. Jim, Highway and Water.
I've submitted my report. I have anything to add.
Okay. Assessor is Paul's not. Okay, I would report that when I've seen him here meeting with people, he still has a smile on his face, so that is good. That's very good. He has a smile on his face and he's still happy to be here. So that's very good news. All right, town historian Leif.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for the good words about cemeteries. And the only thing I have to add is that Friday the 20th, we're going to be doing flag stream. If you are free, if not, I'll save some for you.
Yeah, save some for me. Okay, thank you. All right, town clerk.
I included with my report, we have received a request from a person who made a reservation at Orlando Park. She did cancel her reservation because things happened and she thought she had booked it for June 24th and 25th. Well, technically, she was confused by the way this software is set up, where you have to put in the day of and the next day that you want the reservation, not the previous day and day. So she's asking for her full refund of $325 versus the $275 to be refunded back to her. Just want to let you know, we do fully explain when people call. This is the day that you want and the next day. So she did, we made sure that she was hosting her wedding there. So now she's changing all her plans. Feel bad for her, I do. But we fully explain when people call, you put in the date that you want and the next day, because it's like a 24-hour thing. This is the way the software is set up. But I don't have the authority to reimburse the full amount. It's a $50 cancellation fee. We don't do any refunds for pavilions at all. So those are completely off the table, but cabins, lodges, halls, If somebody cancels within 2 weeks prior to the reservation, they can get everything back except for the $50 cancellation fee, and that's in your fee schedule that is adopted every year and amended throughout the year as we go. So I'm here just asking for direction, motion. Do you want us to put through the additional $50? Do you not? I'm just looking for some direction from you because I don't have the authority to make those decisions.
How often does this happen?
Couple, 3 times a year.
Has anybody reviewed the software and come in and just sort of gone through it? I mean, is it confusing currently? I mean, is it something?
I mean, it is where we do, once we explain it to people, they understand.
Yeah.
If you want it for June 24th, we put in the 24th to the 25th because it.
And it won't let you. I just reserved of the building at Outhouse. And if you just want it for a day, I wanted it for June 10th,
Next
and it
year.
won't let you
Right.
leave before you put in June 11th.
Correct.
I'm like, but I don't want it June 11th. I only want it June 10th, but it makes you, so if you do it online, you can't.
Right.
It won't let you make that choice of just the one day, so you have to put it in for those days.
Right.
So you can't put the same date in both slots.
Cannot. No.
So is the question more related just to, losing the $50 or this 24th, 25th thing? Because
It's the $50. It's
I mean, the
because-
date that you,
Yeah. 99%, 99.9% of the people understand. Because they'll call and say, and me and my staff explain to them. Lindsay even will get the call once in a while and explains to them the day that you want and the next day. So,
was there any competition for the,
or
Building that
our parks
day?
are booked.
I mean, for this specific,
I don't know if it's been.
or we could have
rebooked.
rented it to somebody else and didn't.
I'm sure at this point, we have rented it out.
So by this point, but when this became known,
Back when she originally made her reservation.
I mean, when she tried to cancel.
She tried to cancel what?
When she canceled it, it was already reserved by someone else,
Oh.
the actual date she.
Yeah, the
intended.
25th. Oh, you're talking the 25th?
I don't know.
Okay, so her
24th, 25th.
her original date, she thought she was getting the 25th, but she put in the 24th, which was a Friday. So that she had to put the 24th and the 25th in to get the full day to do that. When she realized that, oops, that mistake was made, the 25th had already been booked by another party. So the Gorham Lodge was just not available.
Sounds like. I'm confused by it.
So if I could just
Yeah.
real quick here, so think of it like a hotel.
Yeah.
You check
you
in,
go over
and
and
then
check out.
check out. the next
Checkout
morning.
time is
So
7:00.
the majority of all of our rentals at Onondaga, that's what it is. You check out, you check in the afternoon, you spend the night there and you check out. That's why this system, it's a campground system, it's set up like that. There are some odds and ends like Gorham Lodge, if you're trying to reserve it for just one day or a half day rental, that sort of stuff. But the system is set up, it's a campground master program, is what it's called. It's intentionally designed to do that. So yes, this does happen occasionally, but our parks, I mean, I think we're at 100% already. They're so booked.
They're booked,
I
yeah.
mean, we've even tried to increase opportunities for people to reserve them, and they're just completely booked.
Yeah.
Huge demand the last 2 years for our parks. So this particular one, the lady's asking for her money back, and we've already reserved it, out for somebody else at full price.
So we're not out any.
We're not out money.
So, I mean, so she booked it for the 25th and then added the 24th because
No,
she,
booked it for the 24th, thinking she was booking it for the 25th.
well. I give her
She booked to
$50.
leave on the 25th. and she-
Yeah, that's a little confusing.
What, have we, when this has happened in the past, have people ever requested for this before?
Mhm.
Have we given it to them or not?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, not always.
Well, you haven't lost the $50 because you've rebooked.
Yeah. I'm okay with giving it back to her. We're not out anything. There was a little bit of confusion. I'm okay with it.
So here's my next question for you, and Doug and I had talked about it a little bit. Do you want these situations coming to you, or do you prefer to have either myself or Doug have the authority to make the discretionary decision?
At what point do they incur the $50 fee? Is it always, or is it if it's within a certain
always.
amount of time?
It's always, yeah,
Because most hotel reservations, it'll be like, if you don't cancel or change this within 3 weeks or something,
right.
then you get charged
They
a
have to
fee
cancel 2 weeks prior to
get anything.
get everything back except for the $50. If it's within the 2 weeks, they get nothing. So, the reason I'm asking this is because I did get, Rebecca did speak with somebody last week. They have a cabin that they need to cancel because of an illness in the family and because of other things happening around in the community with COVID. So, they're asking for a full refund as well. So that's why I'm asking, do you want me to bring these situations to you on a one-to-one basis, or do you prefer either myself or Doug or somebody to handle it? Because we need to amend the fee schedule, so that's all.
I think you should be able to handle it yourself.
Right.
You've been doing this for a long time, you know that if you're being scammed or not, you know, so.
And there are extenuating circumstances that you can definitely judge.
I would think it'd be nice for us to hear about them.
Yeah,
To make the decision.
yeah.
I would trust your judgment as well.
Hear about them after the fact, Terry.
I
Unless
mean,
you,
just,
I can do that.
unless you want to use us as a
I can
sounding
do it.
board,
Mhm.
then that's fine
Okay,
if you want that option, but if something you want to run with.
Well, and if it somehow changes the amount of people asking for full refunds, because obviously now if they're asking for a
we'll
full
start
refund,
tracking.
and you
Yeah.
say, oh, so we have to go for the town board, it's delaying the whole process and bringing it up publicly, that might detract them from asking for it. So if you're noticing some big increase, that's obviously a problem.
Jim, will you start this again?
Well, I have the ability to waive penalties when people forget to pay their bill once a year. And we keep track of that, and if it becomes a habitual issue, I bring it to the board's attention. But I think
Yeah, that makes,
Gene's position where if over time it became more of an issue that people were canceling, then the board could then review it again. But I think for $50, Gene should be able to say, okay, and be done with it and move on.
Try it, see if it works.
Okay, I'll bring an updated revised fee schedule next meeting. All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to mention one more thing before you sit down. Congratulations on your election to the president of the Ontario County Tax Collector Association.
Gene doesn't know how to say no.
You're correct.
I don't know if you were on camera for that or not.
I really hope so.
Very
Yeah.
exciting part
Roll
of
the
the
tape.
meeting.
Roll the tape. All right, town planner, Shauna, I think, there you are.
I have nothing else to report.
Okay, thank you. HR and Parks,
She's not with us, but let's just put a quick plug in for May 25th. What time, Rebecca?
6 p.m.
For the ribbon cutting for the brand new pirate ship.
Aye,
That outhouse.
and then we also have Motion Junction, June 18th.
At 11.
Yeah, so we've got some good things happening. All right, town manager. Nothing, okay. My reports are in. I do not have anything to add at this point. Okay, reports of committees and boards. Finance, at this time, don't have anything. Karen, did you have anything to bring up for finance?
No, sir.
Okay. Planning, Terry.
we met last Friday. We had some people come in asking questions about the what's going to be happening with the uptown area, water, and those things. We also had Tim McElligott come in from the county and talk about County Road 28, the potential creation of the sewer district up there. And a lot of the residents were concerned. Most of the people in the room were in favor of it, but what we told them was we would try to get some numbers together and perhaps have a an informational session for County Road 28. There's about 100 properties involved in the latter part of June. And we also talked with Tim about the potential output from the build out of uptown area, what impact that would have on the sewer system. So there's a lot of work to be done in that area, but generally speaking, it can all be in. So that's about it.
Okay, thank you. And then I do not see Oksana for economic development. All right, planning board, Chairman Euler, do you have anything for us?
I guess not.
So yelling in there. There you go. Now you're unmuted.
Nothing else, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. ZBA, I do not see the chairman there. ECB, Adeline.
Hi, so the ECB met earlier this month. They wanted to give a report. They're concerned about the ailanthus trees in Sand Hill Cemetery and how they attract spotted lanternfly to the area. And it's my understanding that acquiring the bucket truck that's showing up later on our agenda tonight could be helpful with that project. Also wanted to make sure everybody was aware that there's a June 6th joint meeting with the ECB, the planning board, the zoning board, and the town board is also invited to that as well, if you were not already aware of that. It's June 6th at 6 p.m., I believe. At Crouch Hall.
No.
Adeline, this is Shauna. We actually had to change that location due to Zoom, lack of Zoom capabilities. So that will be actually in Analinda.
In Analinda, okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Is it 6 p.m.?
It is.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
Nope. That's all.
Okay. All right, Shauna, before you go too far away, anything from the CIC?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. All right, Parks and Recreation Committee, Chairman McNeil did not submit a report, but I did speak to him. He's excited for outhouse for the pirate ship opening. He's also excited for Motion Junction and still looking for a time to have a joint meeting between the town board and the Parks Committee to talk about some of the plans and projects going forward. All right, special events, I did not see Chairman Fuller.
We are meeting the last Friday of the month, at 9 o'clock in this room, and we're going to be finalizing the plans for the Perks of the Park, which is on June 4th.
Okay. All right, thank you, Dennis. In agriculture, I do not see Chairman DeCarlo. All right, that takes us to our resolutions and motions. We do not have any continued resolutions. Oh, right over that. Okay. Would anybody be like to be heard for the privilege of the floor? Please, go ahead.
I just wanted to.
If you can go to the mic so people on Zoom, sorry,
Sure.
it's just easier for them. And you have 3 minutes, but if you want the whole time, you
I
can
do
use
not.
it. Okay.
I wanted all of about 10 seconds. I'm
Okay.
Shannon Chevier. I'm looking to join the zoning board of appeals. That's part of the resolution tonight, and I've met several of you already, but I wanted to introduce myself for those who I haven't met.
Thank you so much.
Nice meeting you.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. And thanks for stepping up to do that. Thank you.
Now you can do all the things that Jerry did. Jerry did for 28
I know.
years, 40 years.
Okay, anybody else like to, please? Oh, we've got two.
Got two.
Okay, Karen.
Karen Parkhurst. Jared, I want to thank you for doing the presentation tonight. And because I bitched and moaned last month about nobody telling us about the RSM property. And it really is an eye opener, what you told us and how this purchase offer would work. And I'm not sure where I still think we should acquire that land. I agree with Adeline. But I'm not sure whether it's worth it or not. And I need to think about it. So
Okay.
next month.
Okay, next month. We'll plan on it. Same room, okay? Right
Are you
there.
going to have an opinion, Karen? That'd be awesome.
All right, thank you. All right, Vince.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have to echo Karen as well. Thank you,
Mhm.
Jared, for the presentation. very detailed. Alan, I like your suggestion about posting it next month. Oh, by the way, I'm Vincent Goldbeck, 4280 Lake Hill Drive. About posting your presentation so the public can see it. I'd also like to suggest the public hearings that were held, or the privilege of the floor that was held back in February the 8th, I believe, and then the 15th or 16th. I think there were some good constructive comments, either for pro and against. So if you could post those as well.
Yes.
The summary, or just referring to, I know a lot of it was regarding Kitchener Point, but there were some too about 39-6 and County Road 16. So I think that would be helpful.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, would anybody else like to be heard? All right, now we can go to resolutions and motions. All right. So resolution 133, we already passed that one. All right, resolution 2022-134, acceptance of the monthly financial reports.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any discussion? Did I do it backwards? What did I do? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Yeah. All right, let me get my head back again. Okay, resolution 2022-135, acknowledgement and authorization of budget transfers by the town manager.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, carries. Resolution 136, budget transfer authorization for Canandaigua Consolidated Water District Capital Improvement Project.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries. Resolution 137, authorization for budget transfers and closing of the Purdy Pendleton PDR capital project.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I'd like to thank Sarah Reynolds for her work on this transfer. It's my understanding she put a lot of work and time and effort into preserving this property.
Definitely. I second that comment. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carries. Resolution 138, budget transfer authorization for waste and recycling repairs.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carries. Resolution 139, authorization for the town manager to make accounting adjustments in relation to the 2021 financial audit.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Resolution 140, appointment of transfer station operator.
I'll second that.
Okay, take your pick. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carries. Resolution 141, acknowledging the cancellation of outstanding checks for receiver of taxes.
I'll move that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Resolution 142, appointment of zoning board of appeals secretary.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carries.
Welcome again, Kimberly.
Yeah, she does a great job. Resolution 143, the request to hire summer staff for parks.
I would move that resolution.
Okay, moved and seconded. And the whole list is right up there. That's a lot of help out there.
Great kids.
Yep. Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Resolution 144, authorization for town manager to create position of clerk to the town justice.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Resolution 145, authorization for the town manager to create the position of recreation director.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Carries. Resolution 146, the town board authorization for land purchase at 4760 Seneca Point Road for the purposes of town park trail connection and natural resources protection.
So moved.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Yep, so that parcel, if you see the little yellow, that is McJanet Park. And if you see where the circling mouse pointer was a few moments ago, that is the property that we acquired. It came about on Mother's Day weekend that Doug was texting saying that he found out about it. And we had we were able to direct him, and he was able to enter into the purchase agreement for that. Opportunity that does not come up very often, to be able to connect to an existing park. As you can see, the stream that goes through for the water quality projects that we mentioned. And then to the west, you have the Vista project. So it's literally across the street from the connector to the Vista. So it fits right into their plans. And the funny thing was, Andy Zapp this week sent an email saying, hey, I just heard that there's property for sale on Seneca Point Road, where we were able to respond. I think we both did separately, already got it, which is very exciting and very nice to be able to share for that. It's a great piece. It will be a great addition to McJanet. And the connection, potential connection down to Ananda with those green dots where the ravine is for a trail connection. And right now, water quality through Kevin O'Vanny, which again is another exciting piece of that.
Jared, if we could just thank to Mr. Anthony Rhodes, who owns this parcel.
Mhm.
He is the gentleman that reached out on Mother's Day saying, hey, it's just listed today. And he is very much interested in working with us on our trail connection.
Excellent. Excellent.
Just one little piece between the green dot.
Yeah.
Then you'll be able to walk down, in my case, walk down.
Not back up.
Jerry, we're gonna make a sledding trail.
sledding trail.
Take a little bobsled run right down the ravine. We're gonna ice it, freeze it up.
I would
Boom.
just like to say how thrilled I was to receive this call on Mother's Day. Again, back to the Trails Master Plan, this parcel is actually basically called out on the Trails Master Plan as something that was in 2010 that made sense to acquire. And I am thrilled to be a member of the board when that call came in. So, and I was very happy that it was something that all of us were interested in. So it's great, really exciting.
And it was also nice because the family has a connection to the town and really wanted to see it. Was excited to have the town purchase it and have it preserved. So it was a win-win all the way around. So thank you, everyone. And thank you for that.
And I was clarify something real quick.
Yes,
My understanding is that the town board individually
yes,
spoke with Doug Finch
Yes.
one-on-one,
Yes.
gave him
input.
input and said, do it, but do it direct, subject to town board approval.
Correct.
And that was included in the contract. We offered the purchase, subject to town board approval on Monday the 16th.
Thank you for clarifying my comments. Thank you. That's gonna be extra. That's gonna be extra right there, isn't it?
Talking about that $50.
That's gonna be extra.
Here it goes.
Yeah, we can take that up real fast. All right, did we vote on that?
Not yet, no.
Okay, that was a lot of talking.
Don't do
We've
it.
opened it,
Okay, so
seconded.
all in favor?
Aye.
Carries. All right. Yeah, let's put that one behind us. Okay, so resolution 147. Authorization for town manager to release requests for an RFP for planning services to conduct a traffic analysis study for the northern portion of the town of Canandaigua.
We'll move.
Second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Do you want to indicate the general area that this is studying?
So there are going to be a lot of potential changes to Uptown. And we want to look at the traffic impact. We also, years ago, the traffic on Brickyard Road had been looked at as well, with possible other connector roads going through there. There's also the Auburn Trail. There are multiple things that we're trying to do and work in that area. But more importantly, the increased center point is going to be growing. There are other areas that are going to be growing along that corridor, trying to lighten some of the traffic that goes off onto 332 at the uncontrolled intersection without a stop sign. So we're looking at all these for the traffic there and the best way to go forward. So we're focusing in on that upper area. Okay, any other Any other discussion? Attorney Nadler, any clarification? Did you okay on that one? All right, thank you, sir. Okay,
I'll have to go back to the other one at the end.
don't, yeah, my mojo's already been messed up in that. on that tonight. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Carries. All right, resolution 148, authorize highway and water superintendent to purchase a bucket truck.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I hope said truck might be used to remove some Olympus trees in the Sandhill Cemetery. That would be great.
All right, resolution 149, authorize the highway and water superintendent to negotiate the purchase of a surplus hydro excavation Vector truck from Ontario County.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion other than Jim explaining to everyone what a hydro excavation Vector truck is?
So for many years, I've been renting a truck at about $12 a month for us to fix stall boxes for tops, locate utilities prior to excavation. And we use a 6-inch tube with a big vacuum cleaner on the end with a high pressure hose to loosen the soil and suck it out of the ground. The county is purchasing or has purchased a new vac truck for, as this one is due for replacement. The current equipment in the county is a 2008 Sterling with 21,000 miles on it for the engine and 300 hours on the motor for the vacuum. It's in excellent condition. It will serve our needs for the community for at least 7 years. And I'm hoping we can pick it up for around 100,000. The new one costs 475,000. It takes about 2 years to get it. So this will prevent the town from striking gas lines, fiber lines, phone lines. What may be in the ground that we don't find with a bucket to put people out of service. I explained to the board last week, we used one on Town Line Road to locate the fiber out there because that fiber is the backbone for the county. That fiber goes down, the county goes down.
And you
So-
pay 12,000 a month right now. to rent.
No, in the summertime, we rent about
Summer.
3 months to go out and locate these utilities. You know, you may or may not have noticed lately that there's a lot of telephone poles being raised in our community in the city and town of Canandaigua. And that is because there's gonna be a lot of fiber coming to the town and city of Canandaigua. And that's gonna be underground and an aerial, there's a big push for fiber right now in our area. So long story short, when those flags are in your yard, say that's where it is, doesn't always necessarily mean that's where it is, okay? And this will also save expenses to the town when something is struck, if we did locate it correctly, we're not at fault.
All right, thank you. All right.
No.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Carries.
Christmas came early.
It did. Look at that, a bucket truck and a Vector truck.
Bucket list is.
What
I
else?
don't know what the Vector truck is, but.
It sounds like something from Megamind or one of these like these DreamWorks, these Disney cartoons.
It sounds like we need a field trip to see this
Yeah.
in action. That would be fun.
We'll put you on the wand.
All right, you let me know.
Resolution 150, authorizing the purchase of water main equipment from Blair Supply.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That was kind of boring. All that goes under the ground and nobody can see it.
Well, I'll just explain that we have a lot of old infrastructure, Jerry, and what I want to resolve is when the last water main break we had in Cheshire. And I couldn't get valves off completely, and had to turn off a lot of people. These are things that this is going to replace. So we don't have these large outages.
Yeah. Which is always a good thing to not happen.
Right.
Resolution 151, acceptance of the 2021 annual drinking water quality report.
I'll move that.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries. Resolution 152, setting a public hearing to adopt a local law to amend the town code regarding video conferencing in public meetings and seeker intent to declare lead agency.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? And I would add with this that this is in order to, because there's a sunset on what the governor has thrown on there. And we have to, if we want to continue the opportunity for remote participation for all of this, we need to adopt a local law. County's adopted a local law at the county level, and municipalities have the choice to adopt that local law. We are doing it to continue to allow remote participation for public and for members if they cannot be present at those meetings. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries. Resolution 153, seeker determination of non-significance and adoption of a local law to amend the town code to add chapter 45 cemeteries and monuments to establish cemetery regulations and create a cemetery committee.
So moved.
Okay, moved, and I'll take one as a second, one of those two as a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, we were just notified, I guess there's a spelling error in comment, if we could just fix that. Okay. Yeah, in the-
Oh.
yeah.
Okay. Thanks. That's just a typo. Yep. Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carries.
Now to go along with the two.
Number 2?
Yep.
Oh. Resolution 154, seeker determination of non-significance and adoption of a local law to amend the town code to add chapter 178, community choice aggregation to procure energy supply service for eligible consumers.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carries. Number 3. I had a feeling it was going to be number 3. Resolution 155. Appointment of zoning board of appeals alternate member.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you so much. Thank
You're
you.
in.
Got to choose to tell.
Yeah, now you can never lose.
All right, resolution 156, the town board direction to the town manager to begin the process of annexation of certain territory from the city of Canandaigua into the town of Canandaigua.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? So I would like to add with this that there are multiple properties within the town, within the north end of the town and the south end of the town, where parcels are split between the city and the town, which makes it very difficult for the business owners or for the homeowners to get things done, whether it's knowing where to pay a bill, whether it's getting a tag, trying to get a tag to Kershaw Park, whether it's knowing whether or not you have city garbage pickup or not, depending on which part of your parcel is what is in which municipality, separate tax bills, even people who, if they want to put up a shed, they have to, depending if there's only one spot where they can put it. If it splits that line, then they've got to deal with two municipalities. So as part of this, we would like to just start the process of seeing what is out there, doing a sort of audit, and then discussion with the city to see what agreements we can come up with. Both municipalities need to agree. Both need to pass a resolution. We are passing this resolution tonight to get this process going forward. That's the first step, and that's the start of the process.
I'd just like to mention that in my communication with residents, particularly on North Road, it's a consistent problem. I don't know if the public is aware, but the large majority of North Road has their home and front yard in the town of Canandaigua and their backyard in the city of Canandaigua. So they pay a small amount of taxes to the city and do not generally receive benefits for that, is my understanding, and also pay taxes to the town and vote in the town. So it's a difficult situation for all of those residents. So.
This mentions the north side of the city is, there are properties on the southern side.
Well, within the resolution. Give me a second. Is the print on these smaller tonight? Do I just really need to start wearing my glasses?
You need to wear your glasses.
Is this like an 8 font?
In addition to North Road, there are other parcels split between the town and city, and there were previous agreements relative to when certain other properties were annexed to the city of Canandaigua. So,
But it doesn't specifically say.
yeah, it's not
It
specific.
doesn't specifically say,
But
but
this could cover any.
it can cover anything and kind of an open-ended blanket.
Good,
Let's look at it, see what's there, so we don't exclude any spots.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carries. Resolution 157, United Way Day of Caring Acknowledgement.
I'll move that resolution.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carries. Resolution 158, Canandaigua Parks, Trails and Recreation Committee appointments.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is my spot on the Parks Committee that's being.
This
filled.
is, yes, yeah. And they
Good luck
have
to them.
another, they have another high school member as well, so they have their youth member.
Great choice. of
Position
these
filled.
were as
Yep.
well.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries. Resolution 159, accepting the agreement with New York State Office of Real Property Tax Services for 2023 reassessment and authorizing the town supervisor and town assessor to execute the agreement.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carries. Resolution 160, authorization for issuance of facility alcoholic beverage permit to Della Pietra.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Carries. Resolution 161, authorization for the town manager to sign the stormwater control facilities maintenance agreement for Venezia Group, and this is for Fox Ridge Phase 5B.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, this is, this puts the onus on the Venezia Group to maintain these stormwater facilities. What happens if they don't?
This is, remember last month I had to come to you with a last minute in because we have a temporary agreement. So we have a stormwater facility agreement, but this is in a, so this is essentially temporary during construction. It's the responsibility of the developer. And the pond then has to be turned over to the HOA. Once that process is complete and the permit is closed out, it's in the commission district.
Yeah. People are taxed for it.
Yeah.
Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries. Resolution 162, soil erosion and sediment control surety for 3492 Sandy Beach Drive.
You're not gonna block these two?
Block 2 of them? No. Only if you want to.
So moved.
Second,
Move.
you've now discussed it more.
I
than
know, move and
every-
seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 163, soil erosion and sediment surety for 4519 Davidson Landing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion?
Third and-
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. All right, can I get a motion to approve the April 18th town board meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Payment of the bills. Jean or Rebecca?
Utility abstract dated May 3rd, 2022, totaling $39,454.80. The general fund is $24,213.31. Highway fund, $12,971.30. Water districts, $1,819.19, and custodial funds, $451. Special abstract dated May 10th, 2022, totaling $10,000. It's the general fund for $10,000. Town board abstract dated May 16th, 2022, totaling $304,035.66. General fund is $158,050.04. Highway fund, $114,000.94. Capital projects, $22,236.72. Lighting districts, $933.07. Water districts, $8,814.89.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the bills?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I need to abstain from this vote due to my husband's connection with one of the companies being paid.
Okay, thank you. All right, all in favor?
I
Aye.
abstain.
Okay, one abstention. All
Yeah, there,
right,
Rebecca.
yeah, all right, bills are carried. Okay,
I told you that was coming, I'm sorry.
Chris, did you have a resolution we needed to return to?
Oh, no, I just wanted to let you know on the purchase of the property, I've had conversations with the owner's attorney, who is also one of the sons of the deceased owners, and there's a slight title issue.
Is this on Route 21, that property?
The Seneca point.
The Seneca
Yeah,
Point Road,
okay.
yeah.
There's a slight title issue that he's able to clear up, but it may just take a little while longer. The contract says we'll close by the end of the month, and he and I already discussed that.
This might need to amend it.
Just so you know, it's not going to close by the end of the month, probably not next month, probably this May over the summer.
Okay,
Just found out today.
okay, all right, thank you. All right, that takes us to the next privilege of the floor. Would anyone like to be heard? Mr. Brewer.
Just to kind of a couple of things. First on the Johnson property, thank you for your presentation. I agree with Adeline. I'm glad for your openness. I got to know the Johnsons about 30 years ago, great and I painted the house. I'm sorry that the house can't be saved. But I think it's going to be something that we really need to talk about, particularly if the price is going to get up to $3 million or something. The other one is the Jana Park. I'm thrilled with acquiring the land next to it. Over 30 years ago, when we acquired Ononda Park, we've been talking about the connection from Jana and Ononda. It's going to be a great addition. I'm just hoping that when it's finished, I'm going to be able to walk it.
Oh, yeah.
Downhill then.
We told you, we're doing the sled. But maybe we should officially announce that we are not doing a bobsled trail.
I was just gonna say that, maybe it's tram up. We're not in the tram business. Yeah, very good. Well, yeah. Would anybody else like to be heard for at this privilege of the floor? Okay, we do not have any other business. Well, we'll do this at the end. Any other business? Final privilege of the floor. Would anyone else like to be heard? Okay, so I would like to make a motion. This is difficult doing it at this time, but we need to be able to move forward and take care of things that need to be taken care of. I'm glad we had the time in the beginning to honor Gary and remember him. And it's always difficult filling those shoes and realizing that there are things that continually need to be done. But with Gary's passing, it leaves the position of chairman of the ordinance committee open. And there are also 2 other spots that need to be filled in addition to the ordinance committee, that seat. So I would like to make a motion that John Casey, as he has been sitting on the ordinance committee for a while, be the chairman of the ordinance committee through the remainder of the year. And that Terry Fennelly and Adeline Rudolph be appointed and be voting members of the ordinance committee for the remainder of the year.
I will second that motion.
Okay, any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thanks all of you for stepping up and being willing to serve and take on more responsibilities as we work through these times. We do not have any executive session tonight. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much for coming in tonight, everyone.
Good week.
Hey, John.